Now let me show you how to do a performance test with a K6 tool. So K6 is a well-known load testing tool which could execute tests locally or in the cloud. Here, all the executions are performed locally from my local laptop. So what K6 can do, it can get a Postman collection, turn into the load tests and execute. Here in the documentation, we have steps needed for K6 execution. As a first step, we need to export collection, then execute convert, and then execute run shell scripts in order to obtain results. If it's necessary, we can provide additional configuration for the test execution, and in the end, we'll have this type of summary. Let me do everything from scratch. Here we have Postman. What I'm going to do is to export collection, place it into a specific folder in the K6 tests. Here, save, and replace old one. As we know, Postman exported collection is just a huge JSON. And in order to transform this JSON into load test for K6, we need to execute convert script, which takes as input JSON collection and as output list of tests. So according to the documentation here, after export, we need to execute user journey convert the such script. Let me do it here. We are in a correct source folder, and I'm going to execute convert script. As a result, this script will create user journey tests, and this is something what K6 can take as an input in order to execute tests. Here we have list of all our API requests turned into tests for K6. Basically, it's JavaScript files. And then we have our configuration and parameters from the Postman collection. As a first run, let me do something like this. I will take proposed configuration for a tests and just make it a little bit simpler. I do not need this. I need to execute my collection with a single user. Target is a virtual user for 30 seconds. And then sleep function will just basically sleep only 1 millisecond, basically having no delay between API requests. In order to run collection, we need to use this shell script. So let me user journey run 30 seconds, 1 user without sleep. Done. After I start this script, K6 start report time spent for each API call and summary in the end. Let's wait. Here we see that our test will take planned 30 seconds. And here it has an output of time in milliseconds spent for each API call. For now, I will interrupt this test execution because I know it works fine. Here it reports all successful tests and a little summary. Now, if I'd like to execute my test with a couple stages, with some dynamic amount of users, for example, here, for 2 minutes, if I sum these seconds, I will have 2 minutes. For the first 5 seconds, I'd like to have 1 user, then grow up to 20, hold sometime on 20, then grow up to 50, and then just close the test with 5 seconds. So if I run this test right now, plus I don't need to report time spent for each individual call, I need only failed and summary. So here I say do not log response time and just execute my tests with a 50 users max for 2 minutes. Let's see how it goes. Here we can see the test started its execution. It's going to run for planned 2 minutes. Here we see users added during the test execution. And let's wait for some statistics. Here we can see that some tests started to fail. For failed request, we see complete request with the parameters and complete response with the status code and response body and what went wrong here in the output. Let's wait for this test to be finished. Now we have 50 users executing complete user journey from my local computer. Okay, in the end, we see the statistics that 99% of our requests was successful. Checks, sorry, not request checks was successful. We can see that we executed 4,500 API calls with 50 users. Average response time here is 153 milliseconds. Max response request time was a little bit over 3 seconds. But basically, we're good just because a lot of our requests were successful and all checks passed. Details about which check were failed we can see here. And if we need to go deep in the API request and failures, we can execute this individual request with its check. That's all for the performance testing with the K6. Yep, thanks.